What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rising Tide podcast. I'm your host, Stanton Hunter, and this is episode number 2. So thanks so much for checking it out. You guys gave me a lot of awesome feedback over the last week for episode 1, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys all, tuning in and supporting me. A lot of awesome positive things and a lot of good words, and I connected with some people that I haven't talked to in a while, so you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for checking it out. This is the Rising Tide podcast, and together we rise. We're making ourselves better, making the people around us better, making you guys better. So let's just jump into episode number 2. And today I want to talk about what is your why. If you are looking to self-improve, if you're trying to make yourself better, what is that driving force that's making you do it? What's your motivation? What is it that when your chips are down and it's sleeting outside and it's raining and it's cold and you don't want to go outside, what gets you out that door? It's something that can evolve. It can change when you're, starting out, when you're younger. It could be a little more superficial, a little more selfish perhaps. And that's okay. Whatever gets you to do the things that you want to do, that's fine. So what is it? What is it that makes you tick, right? So like I said, it can evolve. For example, when I was in my mid-20s, I moved out to Los Angeles to pursue a film career, and I found myself surrounded by good-looking people. All of my friends were good-looking people. They were actors. They had charisma. They had, chiseled jaws, and they were working out, and they were good-looking people surrounded by good-looking people. They were hanging out with good-looking people. And I became friends with them, and I was hanging out with them too. But I felt like I stuck out like a sore thumb. I wasn't in shape. I wasn't tall. I'm not cracking 6 feet, I clearly was different than the people I was hanging out with. And not to say that like Los Angeles and Hollywood is superficial. It isn't. It can be. But I felt like if I was going to fit in Los Angeles, I need to look better. And the whole city kind of looks good. So I think that they're ranked superficially as like one of the top ranking good looking cities in the country, them in New York, but to each their own. But anyway, I felt like I stuck out. I was out of shape. I was a little bit chubbier. I was only cracking 5'8", and my confidence exuded that. It wasn't something that I was conscious about at the time, but I'm in my mid-20s. I wanted to meet women, meet girls, date, all that fun stuff. And I just felt like if I'm surrounded by all these good-looking people, I'm just going to get left behind. Whether that was true or not, I honestly couldn't tell you, but I will say that that's how I felt. So my motivation at the time was that everyone else around me that I was surrounded by looked good, and I felt like I was left out. So first thing I did was join a gym, and I don't think I went to the gym more than 20 times, to be honest. I'm not much of a gym person. I never have been. But the gym was a good way to at least start and get my foot in the door. But finding the time to push myself, not in the time, but like just to push myself to get to that gym took a lot of effort. And I don't think my why was strong enough. It was pretty self-centered, and it was based off the fact that I just wanted to meet somebody or get, fit in more with who I was surrounded by. So my why was pretty selfish, but it worked for the time being, because after the gym, I decided, you know what? I live in Los Angeles. The weather's gorgeous. I ended up moving to Santa Monica, right on the beach, and I took the opportunity there. Then I was motivated, right? The beach is beautiful, and it doesn't hurt that Los Angeles has beautiful weather 350 days out of the year. Like, it's gorgeous. It's unreal how beautiful the weather can get in Los Angeles. And so I sat there and said, you know what? Let's go to the beach. And I ran the beach. And so I did this every other day, I would say. I would run 3 miles north up the beach, and I would do it right where the water breaks on the water line. And so that way the sand was a little harder. It was easier to run. It wasn't like trudging through sand too much, but it gave a little resistance. So it was good, that it got your heart rate up a lot faster. But also the waves would come and it would force you to do high knees. So I would high knee Every time the wave came in, then it would subside, and I would just run, and then the wave would come back, and I would high knee again, high step. And I did that for 3 miles up the beach, stopped, turned around, and walked 3 miles back. And I did that every day, or every other day, I should say, for the better part of 6-7 months until I moved away from Santa Monica to the Valley. And when I moved to the Valley, my motivation was still high because, you know, that why that I had kept telling me I had to do it. So I got out there. I would run on the Los Angeles River 3 miles. I would go to a hiking trail, hike that trail, which was about 3 miles as well, and then walk the 3 miles back. And I would do that probably like three times a week, 2 to 3 times a week, depending on my schedule. It also helped that I had no money. I was working at a movie theater and, you know, producing student films for some extra cash, but money was tight, so I didn't buy a lot of food. I made sure that the food that I did buy was, you know, smarter. Not like super healthy. I never subscribed to a diet, but the food I was eating was smarter than I used to do. So that resulted in me losing a ton of weight. I think I looked the best I'd ever looked. My confidence level skyrocketed. Just so many other things took place from that. So that why really, really helped me. But when I moved back to New Jersey and I moved back in with my mom and she started cooking me all this food and she was happy to have someone home, so she would bake a lot. And I met a girl and all these other factors, that why escaped me. I no longer had this why. I wasn't surrounded by the good looking people. I wasn't, you know, trying to produce films and being in front of a lot of people all the time. And it fell out from under me. And that why has disappeared as well, because when I decided I wanted to get into better shape again, when I decided that it was time for me to do that, when I lived in Seattle and my wedding was coming up, that was the big thing. It was like, oh, my wedding's coming up. That was my why, right? Like, I don't want to be a fat slob in my wedding photos. And we hired a videographer. I don't want to be a fat slob in my wedding videos. So my why very quickly became get in shape for the wedding. And I did hashtag sweating for the wedding. I created a website and a blog to try and help motivate me to do it. And I started Insanity, Beachbody Insanity. And I got probably like 3 weeks into that and I fell off the cliff again. I stopped. Now I will say, like, I was in decent shape for my wedding. I wouldn't say I was in the ideal shape. It wasn't exactly how I wanted to look, but that was who I was. I accepted it. I was happy. And, you know, that why also escaped me. So I've realized that having a why that is important to you, that's authentic. Authenticity is the key, because if your why is not authentic, you're going to drop it like a bad habit. And that's what we're trying to avoid doing. So my why is currently based off of fitness, right? I view that as one of the main things I'm trying to fix about myself. So that is where my strongest motivation needs to come from. Now, I mentioned last week that one of my motivations is seeing pictures of myself. Again, I can look at the mirror and pose myself a certain way, and I'm very happy with how I look in that aspect, but that's not authentic and that's fake. When I see a picture of myself or a video of myself that someone else took while I'm relaxing or not paying attention, I hate it. And I think there was a picture my wife took of my daughter and myself, and she posted it on Instagram, and I was so, like, that was my motivation. And that's where we are today. Like, my kicking off of wanting to do this and better myself started with that photo, because that photo made me realize how far I had fallen, how much weight I had gained. You know, all of a sudden I started noticing my t-shirts were fitting tighter. I was moving up to double XL. I've never been a double XL in my life. And at that moment, that was my aha moment, if you will. I wouldn't even call that my why, but that was my aha moment. That's when I knew that, oh man, I'm heading down a course that I don't want to be heading down. I need to stop. But I never had the why figured out at that point that helped me stop. And I just kept on going. It's like my brakes were out and I just kept on falling down this hill. And it was to the point, it wasn't even rock bottom. I can't even say that was rock bottom. But that's just kind of when I started realizing, like, oh shoot, like this is this is getting real. This is getting to the point where I need to change something about myself. And I would say that that's probably the pivotal moment, right? That led me to, okay, well, how am I going to do this? I know myself well enough that I'm not accountable. I'm not very accountable for myself when it's just myself. I'm very accountable when it comes to other people. If I know someone's depending on me, if I know somebody is, needs me for something, I will be there in a heartbeat, and I will do everything I can to make sure that that is rectified. But if it's for myself, I'm not very self-accountable. I know that about myself. So if it's something that I really want, then I need to figure out a way to keep myself accountable. And that's what starting these communities, these micro communities, if you will, has become. When I did the hashtag sweating for the wedding, I created a blog and a website, and that actually worked pretty well for me for a while. Because I feel like if I put it out in the universe, if I put something, a physical thing on the internet that says like I'm doing this, then no longer is it about myself, it's about the people who are reading it. And I feel like I can't let them down. And that's what this is. That's what you guys are. You guys are my motivation. You are my accountability. So thank you for that. Thank you for being my accountability. And I want you to see, if you ever see me passing by, or if you just feel like shooting me a message, yell at me. Tell me to stay accountable. Tell me stay on the track, because honestly, it's hard. It's really hard to find the motivation sometimes. So if you're hearing this now, if you're watching this, if you're listening to it, shoot me a message, rate me in a comment, whatever the case may be. Just give me a little push forward, because I can guarantee I probably need it at that point. But at this point, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to jump in all the way. I'm ready to just dive in real quick and not worry about how cold the water is. Because if I do that now, in my mindset, I'm ready to do it. Like I'm just, let's do it. Let's get after it, as they say. And it's the perfect time, because it's the new year, new me, resolutions, all that fun stuff. Everyone else is trying to do it. It's a very popular time of year to try and get into better shape. But I feel like I'm now in it because I've put something out on the internet. I've started this podcast. I've started this community. And that's what's going to push me to do it, basically. But you're not my why. I hate to break it to you guys. I love you. You guys are helpful to my accountability, but you're not my why. My why I'll get out to after these messages. All right, welcome back. So as we're talking about, you guys are my accountability. You are helping me push myself to actually go and do what I'm trying to do, but you're not my why. My why now, it's no longer about myself. It's no longer about trying to land the perfect woman. I found her. It's no longer about, trying to fit in with people. I'm past the point of even caring about fitting in with people. It's about my kids. My kids are my why. I'm not having a midlife crisis yet. I'm too young for that. I'm 34, but I was thinking about it really hard, and I know that my health is not perfect. I'm starting to notice that more and more. I'm starting to notice my high blood pressure, which has been a problem in my family. It's a family issue, high blood pressure. But I'm starting to notice that stuff more. I'm starting to feel a little more like I'm broken, or a little more that I'm unhealthy. Because up until this point, like in my 20s, doctors would say that, like, yeah, you're a little overweight, but you're healthy. There's nothing wrong with you. And maybe that's still kind of the point today. Like my last doctor checkup was great, other than the high blood pressure thing. And, I'm convinced now that I have like sleep apnea. I haven't gotten tested for sleep apnea, but I'm self-diagnosed. I could sleep for 8 hours and wake up feeling like I haven't slept yet at all. I know that has a lot to do with being overweight. So my health is starting to show itself. And so that is making me think more and more. So I go back to my kids, and I want to be there for them. I don't want to be there for them, for 20 years. I want to be there for them for long past what my current expectancy probably is. So, and it's not even just being there for them or my grandchildren in the future. Like it's more about wanting to be the best father I can be now. And I work a lot. I work my full-time job. I have a couple side hustles. I feel like I'm always constantly doing something, and I'm exhausted pretty much at the end of the day. And I want to be able to spend time with my family. I want to be able to come home from work, put my stuff down, and just run around with the kids. They have all that energy pepped up. They're just running around, running amok. They're going a million miles a minute, and I don't want to feel like I have to stop them from doing that, right? To me, that's their happiness, and that's what they're trying to do, and it makes me so happy. I just want to participate more, rather than come home and play with them for 5 minutes before I'm just wiped out on the floor and just letting them crawl all over me. And I feel like if I start getting to better health, if I start getting to shape, and if I start taking care of myself, these mornings, because I'm not a morning person. I'm not grumpy in the morning, but I'm not moving anymore. I know I'm up until 2 o'clock in the morning usually anyway, and that's got to stop too. I need to reverse this and go to bed earlier so I can wake up earlier, because that's when my kids need me the most. When they're running around, I'm holding on to my son's ankle so he doesn't crawl off the bed, and so I could try and sleep longer. It's not conducive. He's up, he's active, he's ready to roll. I need to be up and active and ready to roll as well. So when it comes to my why, this all relates back to the why, is they're my why. I need to be a better father. I want to be a better father to my kids, and that is my why. That's what's going to drive me. When I've hit a wall out on a jog, I need to push through that. It's because I think to myself, this is for the kids. And it's more than just my health at that point. This is me showing them that adversity is okay. That no matter what life will throw at you, whatever obstacle that stands in your way, I didn't give up, and I tried my best to get over it. And that's what I want to show to my kids, is that you can do that. You can look adversity in the face and not be scared, and you can push yourself over those obstacles, or you can die trying. But it's showing them that, I'm not giving up. I'm not surrendering. I'm not too scared to continue. I'm ready to push on. And I'm hoping that by the time they realize what's happening, be it 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 30 years from now, whenever they actually understand these lessons I'm going to try and instill in them, I want them to be proud. And I want them to think, wow, like my dad never gave up. My dad pushed and pushed and pushed, and he was the best dad that he could be. And that's what this whole podcast is about, right? So really the root of it, what it really comes down to, is my kids and being the best father that I can be. So, my question for you at this point is, what is your why, right? What is it that gets you out of bed in the morning, that even when everything's against you, when you feel like you can't go any further, what pushes you that extra mile? What's going to get you over that hill that no matter what you can lean on? Because let me tell you, when it comes to your personal looks are going to fade. Like, all that's going to go away. At some point, you need something that's going to drive you. And you can have your accountability, be it a trainer, a friend, a spouse, a parent, a kid. They can keep you accountable. But maybe you are your own why. But what is your why? Let me know, because I'm really curious. I'd be happy to help you find your why. If there's anything else that, you want to try to dig up as far as what could possibly push you, because there's so many options, so many things that could be your why. And it doesn't have to be all about health and fitness. It could be, why do you want to get better financially? Are you saving up for a house? Are you trying to, buy a car? Like, what are some other whys? Because, I mean, my main why is based off of my health, but, and really off of a lot of things. I want to start saving money because of my kids. I want to become a better communicator because of my kids. Like, there's a lot of things that I want. Most of my weaknesses, and I'm going to get more into weaknesses next week. Next week, I'm going to be taking a hard, deep look in the mirror and coming up with some weaknesses that I want to fix. Whatever weakness I'm trying to fix, it's for my kids. I mean, everything I do nowadays is for my kids. And maybe that's something I need to fix too. Like, possibly that's too much. Maybe I got to do something for myself. I need to do things for my wife. Like, there's things that I need to fix about myself for other reasons than my kids. But when it comes to my health, when it comes to finances, when it comes to, mental health, it all relates back to the kids. They're my why. They're my number one why. I love them. I want to see them. I want to see them happier, and I want to see them for way longer than I'm probably projected to see them. So that's it. I want to thank you guys so much for checking out episode number 2, and make sure you comment on the show, rate it, share it, subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that little bell to make sure you are notified. But it doesn't matter. Every Friday at 11 o'clock, I'll be here with a new episode. So if you haven't already, go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/risingtidepod, and you can join there. That's where I'm trying to put in more of a community, be sharing a lot of daily stuff, hopefully workouts, just kind of things to keep myself motivated and moving. So feel free to check out everything. We're on Instagram at Rising Tide Pod, and just join the conversation, join the community. If there's anything that you want to fix about yourself and you don't know where to start, reach out to me, shoot me a message. I'll find someone to interview to help you, and we'll go from there. This is the Rising Tide podcast. When one rises, we all rise. A rising tide lifts all boats. Let's just rise together. We will do this, and, together we rise. So until next week, guys, thanks so much for checking it out. Have a good one.